Hello dear viewer, dear hello, Murdoch X here, and we need to talk about Harvest Moon. In one of my recent videos I made a comment about all of the Harvest Moon games being kind of the same, and I was wrong. Harvest Moon Save the Homeland is not what I thought it would be. I went into this game thinking it would be good enough. Later in my playthrough, I was frustrated when I realized that all of my hard work I had put into my farm wasn't necessary to beat the game. Then my mind was changed again after completing one of the game's endings. The changes that were made for this Harvest Moon installment are both huge and tiny, and I want to play more. Also, I killed a rare flower and was sure I was going to get a bad ending. We'll come back to that. Before we begin talking about Save the Homeland, let's clear up something that may be confusing. Coming in fall of 2020 is Harvest Moon One World, but it's not Harvest Moon. Natsume owns the Harvest Moon name, but none of the recent games. If you're looking for some Harvest Moon fun that comes from the original creators, you'll need to find one of the Rune Factory or Story of Seasons titles. Save the Homeland is a twist on the Harvest Moon franchise. There's still crops, animals, and building friendships with bribes, but it's been simplified to shift the focus to 9 possible ways to beat the game. Starting out a new Save the Homeland game begins the plotline we've gotten used to with this series. Grandpa has died and he left his derelict farm to you. But this time there's a twist. Some folks plan on coming in and bulldozing everything in order to build a highway and resort. It is now up to you to save the town and your grandfather's farm. You have 1 year. I have some Harvest Moon experience, so I jumped into getting some crops planted right away to rake in that sweet farm cash, but this is when I noticed the first big change. There is no shipping bin. In previous games, this would be a box outside of your home, and anything placed inside of it would be sold at the end of the day. This time around, you bring items to the different shops scattered around town and sell them there. Some of these items can't be sold, and it's not always clear where all of the shops are. While playing, I never figured out how to sell eggs, so I used them in recipes or as gifts. It turns out that the cottage with the rich folks buys them. I had no idea. I only discovered this because I decided to read over the instruction manual before working on this video. Found a few things in there I wish I had known about ahead of time. Some frustrations. Selling goods at the individual shops can be annoying because not everything is sellable, but also because each shop works on different hours and is open on different days of the week. The largest obstacle, though, is the time limit. The days end fast. From your farm you can venture out, but the path splits. One direction has items you can pick up off the ground for gifts or to sell, and the other way has most of the shops you'll be frequenting. With daylight flying past, it's difficult to tend to your farm, head out to the shops, and pick up these loose items lying around. Then again, this system is a feature, not a bug. This time limit, along with our character's limited stamina, are what keeps this from being a boring game about doing chores. You have got to move fast and try to do as much work inside of buildings as possible. There's only 2 ways to stop time: hit the pause button or go inside. If we're in a situation where we need to bring animals indoors, it's best to comfort and care for them after they've been brought in. One minor complaint about time management is that you can't walk and turn the camera at the same time. You'll get used to knowing where things are and running around blind. In Save the Homeland, there are 4 animals to care for: a dog, a horse, cows, and some chickens. Cows and chickens give milk and eggs, while the dog can be trained and the horse can be ridden. I didn't get a horse in my playthrough because it doesn't give any items that can be sold. Moving around faster though, that would have been useful. And that's another reason I'd like to go back and play this game. It's gotten into my head. Besides animal products, the 4 growable crops are another source of income. We can give this farmland the old hoe and sow and then water it daily. We can plant potatoes, tomatoes, corn, and breadfruit. Breadfruit seeds are the most expensive but also generate the most valuable produce. Also, breadfruit plants continue to thrive after being harvested. Tomatoes aren't bad, but after being picked a few times, they will disappear. Potatoes are a single harvest item, but they grow fast. And then there's corn. We don't talk about corn. Another way to earn some cash is to purchase the kitchen upgrade. With 3 different devices for combining ingredients, we can unlock high-value crafted goods for sales and friendship. I mention friendship because the folks around these parts enjoy gifts. They don't love them so much that they'll marry you. That feature didn't make the cut this time. While we're comparing Save the Homeland to previous Harvest Moon games, it's worth noting that the mine is missing and crops can be grown through multiple seasons, which I didn't know about until it was too late. I spent the last few days of spring ignoring my breadfruit because I thought it would die when summer started. That was a mistake. Breadfruit. That has to be some weird translation mistake, right? Nope, breadfruit does exist, and it is in fact a fruit that tastes like bread. Inside of our beautiful farm home, we have a bed to sleep in and a television. It's a good idea to check the weather channel every day. If it looks like it's going to rain tomorrow, you'll want to bring all of your animals inside. Pick up the dog and bring them into the house. Chickens go to the coop and the cows and horse go to the barn. The good news is you don't have to spend a lot of energy watering plants on these days as they're already watered. Be careful though, and don't try to plant new crops on rainy days. They might not take. Also, don't let yourself get exhausted working in the rain. You could get sick and lose a day of work. I was so mad when this happened to me. I just got a chicken to start laying golden eggs. Because of that missed day of work and because my chickens were in the coop without me around to feed them, 3 chickens got sick. Our beloved character can only carry 1 medicine at a time, so I had to make 3 trips to the store over the course of 2 days to keep my chickens healthy. It took a long time to get my feathered friends to lay golden eggs again. If you've played Harvest Moon before, most of this is standard fare, but what makes this game different is that there are 9 different ways to win. Certain events may occur as you're playing that cause potential stories to unfold. In my playthrough, I went for the Azure Swallowtail ending, which I won't spoil for you. It took befriending some folks around town to get it started. While working towards this, I accidentally did something that started another one of the storylines that involves fishing. If you choose not to use a guide, then you'll need to keep an eye out for these starting events as they hint at what you'll need to do next. Also, the instruction manual lists how to start all 9 quests. I did use a guide, and after reading into what it takes to win, I became frustrated with all of the farming work I had done. I didn't need all of the money, animals, and crops that I had been building up. It would have been much faster and less frustrating if I had ignored most of the farming aspects. At this point, my opinion of the game was dropping. This farming game would have been easier to beat if I hadn't done the farming. On top of that, the win that I was going for involved a rare plant which I accidentally killed. Every day I watered it, or at least that's what I thought, but one day I came back and it was dead. There was nothing I could do about it. I had been making it a point to save my game every day, so I was locked into this fate. I was becoming more and more frustrated. This happened in the middle of summer, and if I didn't get another one of these rare flowers to plant soon, it would be too late because when fall hits, the flower can no longer be grown. I was upset and I began to weigh my options. Maybe I did water it every day and it's supposed to die as part of the story. On the other hand, there was a fishing quest that I had started. Maybe there was still time to complete that. Despite feeling defeated, I kept going in hopes that the flower death was part of the story. To hurry things along, I stopped watering some of my plants and sold off all but one of my chickens, and sure enough, the dead flower was supposed to happen. I think. I beat the game and I got the ending that I was aiming for. While I was happy to have this victory, I was still upset about all of the farm work that I had done. None of it helped achieve that game ending. It felt like the game played a mean trick on me by killing the flower, then waiting a week to tell me that I had won. These were my final thoughts as I shut down my PlayStation 2 after completing this win. But then I began the research phase for making this video and discovered some things I didn't expect. When you start a new game after completing one of the win conditions, you get to keep your friendships, the plants in your field, your animals, the happiness levels, and your inventory, as well as the house upgrade. Everyone still greets you as the new guy when you talk to them for the first time, but all of the hard work you put into farming will not be in vain. Some of the winning conditions require items that will now be easier to obtain. It's unfortunate that I wasn't aware of any of this in advance. Rest in peace, unwatered breadfruit. While playing Harvest Moon Save the Homeland, a strange thing happened to me. I've heard in the past that there are games that we play but don't enjoy. On mobile, you'll see loads of clicker games. I remember the first time I found one of these and I played it for 2 days straight before deleting it. I didn't enjoy that game. I enjoyed feeling like I was winning, but the win felt more and more distant the longer I played. I caught myself wondering if farm simulations like Harvest Moon are clicker games. Around the same time, I read an interview with a game developer. He mentioned that he doesn't make item stats visible to players because that causes some folks to focus on min-maxing, which takes away from the fun of experimentation. This is a perfect example of what's happening here. All of the items in Save the Homeland have values, such as how much they can be sold for or how much energy they give our hero if he eats them. These items are also loved or hated by townsfolk when they receive them as gifts. I did use a guide, so I had much of this information, but if someone had taken the time to chart out perfect planting and harvesting schedules, I would have used it. I could have been robbed of the chance to tinker with things, to see what works and what doesn't. By using a guide, I may have lost some of the fun. On the other hand, what is required to complete each step of the 9 possible endings isn't always clear while playing. If someone were new to the franchise, they may not know about the gift-giving aspects of Harvest Moon, which would be game-breaking. That is, of course, unless they read the manual. I suppose that's my advice if you do choose to play this game. Read the manual. Now that it's all over and I have a better understanding of the New Game Plus system, I no longer feel that my farm time was wasted. It's all part of a bigger picture. Beating the game once is not the true ending, it's just setting up a base to build from for future playthroughs. Thanks to this New Game Plus feature, I'm curious to see what else Save the Homeland has to offer. I want to know what happens next. I want to get a horse. I want to use the freezer. I want to build my yogurt fortune. I want to find all 5 of the power berries that increase stamina. What I don't want is for Grandpa's farm to be paved over for a highway or a vacation resort. I went into this game expecting an experience that would be good enough. Instead, I became frustrated and confused, but now I want to go back and play more. Harvest Moon Save the Homeland is not what I was expecting, and you should give it a shot. A complete PlayStation 2 copy of the game sells for around $10 right now, and if you'd like it on the PS4, it's a downloadable title for $15. Thank you for watching, and please consider subscribing. I'm trying to make it to that 1,000 subscriber mark so that I can unlock the rest of the features that YouTube has to offer. Thank you.